Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to Enfp Mail. Today I get to interview Gus. So Gus, welcome dude.
Hello.
So Gus, can you tell us what your full type is?
Yes. Okay. So I'm an ESTP Se-Ti double feminine consume play sleep blast.
And what did you think and how did you feel when you got your results back?
Yeah. So I kind of went through a whole process of like what I thought my own type was. I originally thought I was like an ENTP because I had masculine intuition, and so I thought that was like a savior for me. Um, but then like over I got typed in like August. That's like when my results came back. But like over the summer I was like, oh, I had like a revelation. I was like, oh, I'm lead sensory. Like, oh, I just keep gathering the sensory. And so I actually like typed myself before they sent me their type. I was like, okay, I'm consume sleep, play blast, and then everything else was correct. So I got my type like mostly correct. So I'm pretty proud of that.
So you thought you were an ENTP, but the animal
Yeah.
stack you put consume, sleep, play, blast.
Hmm.
So you knew right away you were an EP, you were chaotic,
Oh yeah.
gathering, addicted to gathering.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's super addicted to gathering, consuming. Just I'll go into my consume hole on YouTube or whatever. Yeah, and I really thought I was intuition just because I didn't really have a clear definition of what intuition was. And I kept seeing my masculine NI, which is introverted, so it's like tied to my identity. And so I thought that was more prevalent, but no, I'm sensory.
All right, dude. So my first question to you is
Mhm.
you are double activated masculine TI. So how do you
Yeah.
experience that? That is so interesting because you don't come
Hmm.
across as TI lead, just talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You come across as very feely. So that's super interesting that you're actually extremely like TI. So let's hear about
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, so my TI is very selfish. It's very like skills based. Like I put a lot of like self-worth into like what I can do correctly, and it's very aggressive. It's very masculine. And so like contrasting like the feminine feelings of like other people inside my own head, I feel very masculine and like blocky.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting because I've heard a lot of double feminine people, they'll talk about like being very masculine, but outwardly it doesn't seem that way. But I can
Yeah,
see that inwards they are like that super masculine person, which is kind of funny
yeah,
because I've also interviewed people who are double masculine and they thought they were double feminine, and they're like,
yeah.
oh, I feel so feminine inside. So it's so interesting to hear you say that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I'm really interested in like the whole like sexual modality aspect of objective personality. I find it very interesting when someone's like double masculine, but their saviors are double feminine, and
yeah,
like how that affects their life or whatever. Like
right,
I have double masculine sleep,
yeah,
and so like my inner world is very like safe and cozy,
yeah.
whereas the feminine play SF, it's kind of like wee.
It's like Michael Jackson, right? He's like double masculine, but then
Hmm.
you will never assume he's
Feminine
double
FI.
masculine. Like he's like the last person you would think is double
Yeah,
masculine.
yeah. Well,
And
because his feminine FI is like so cute, and it's like, oh, I love that. I like that.
yeah, and
But then
I
like,
think he's leading with his with that also, So I think
mhm.
that's what you see.
Mhm.
Um, so since you already brought it up, let's talk about your double masculine sleep then. How do you
Okay.
experience your double masculine? Your sleep is also TI/NI. So how do
Yeah,
you
and I.
experience your double masculine? Oh, that would also make sense why you think you're NT. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely I resonate with my sleep a lot more than I do with my play, and that's like a number of factors. Like one, like they're both introverted functions. So I like tie my identity to the TI, which is like the self skills, and then the NI, which is like my future vision or like my plan. And like the NT aspect of the double masculine NT sleep, it's very nerdy, like space. Um, like I really like space and like thinking about like like how I would do things in the future, like NT, like type stuff like that.
So you love all that stuff that Elon Musk is doing then.
Yes. Yeah, I really want to work for SpaceX, or like I want to. Well, one of my goals that I said is that I want to be like one of the first people to film a movie in space. not like any green screen or anything. I actually like want to film in space or like on a planet. Um, and like whether or not I achieve that goal is, well, I would like to do it, but the point is like what can I do along my journey of growth by trying to film in space? Like where will I end up? Probably better than where I am now.
I think in your lifetime it would be possible. I think we're not far.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think it's far.
We're so close. And like who is it? Who's the Mission Impossible guy?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise signed a contract saying he'll pay for like the first movie filmed in space because he's like a rich billionaire or whatever.
That's interesting because he's an IJ, right? So you would think he would be scared of chaos, of like, something bad's gonna happen when
Yeah,
you go
that's
to
right.
space.
He's, what is he, ISFJ?
Yeah, he's an ISFJ, but for
Uh-huh.
him to sign up for that, that's kind of interesting. Like that's super
He got
cool.
started. He just got started. He wanted to do something.
Yeah. So you, even though you can see your double masculine NT sleep very strongly, you are not lead NT, you are lead ST. So talk about being lead ST and having that feminine SE also, at the top.
Yeah, so the ST, it really likes statistics. Like I find that I really like statistics. And Dave put it really well when he was like ranting about sensory at one point. He was like, it's like reading from a dictionary. And I really like doing that. Like not like specifically reading from a dictionary, but I just like combing Wikipedia for the facts. What date was this? What happened? Where was this? Being feminine SE, that means like I have like tester. And so I've only recently discovered this, but like it's been happening my whole life. But with a feminine SE and like the tester, I really like smells and tastes. And like when I walk into a room, my SE is like looking for like new sensory, obviously, but it's also like looking for like what does the room smell like? Or and like smell and taste are kind of the same sense in the animal kingdom or whatever. Um, but yeah, it really likes statistics. I played a video game on my phone where it was just like the entire video game was like getting these heroes, and then it had like a bunch of stats of like power levels or like defense levels. Like I love that type of stuff.
The interesting thing about you guys with the lead ST is that you don't get bored reading the facts, like
Oh,
like I would just die just if I had to like read like facts after facts,
well,
like
there's a difference between like SI boring and then like new SE facts. Like I'm like, what's the biggest fact? Like this house was bigger than this one. So it's a lot of like combing through the facts. I'm like comparing the different sensory. Like this one, okay, this one, this one. It's like a big huge pile.
Well, I have a friend growing up. I think he's an ISTP because he's getting tribe hate left and right all the time.
Okay.
And I noticed that when I play video games with him, like a new computer game or video game, the first thing he would do actually is he would just read everything about it. It was like the craziest consume. He'll read he'll watch all the YouTube videos about it. He'll read the manual about it, and I'm like, can we just jump in and play? He's like, hold on. He's like just making sure.
I read the like the stuff on like cartons.
Yeah.
Or like cereal waxes, like the percentage of like this is 7% cholesterol, like 5% sodium, whatever.
Do you read the ingredients like every single one and like?
Yeah. So well, like I've been trying to eat better, and so like I my rule is that I only try to eat foods that have less than 5 ingredients.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's a good one.
Because like, or if there's an ingredient in there that I can't pronounce, then I won't eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even if you could pronounce it, but you don't know what it is, that's also a red flag.
If I don't know what it is, I don't want to put it in my body. Yeah.
Right. All right. So because you have feminine SE though, do you forget the facts that you've gathered?
Oh my God. It's such a curse. Like I'm responsible for the sensory, but like I have the worst memory like on the planet. Like I always tell my friends like, hey, if I forget your name, like it's not because I don't value you, it's just because I literally can't remember names. I just have the worst memory ever.
And how do you experience your double feminine SF play?
Yeah, the double feminine, it's just like I'm obligated to always like it's like in contrast with the masculine sleep. Like I want to be in like a sleep processing stuff, but if someone like walks into my room and they want to like go do something, like I can feel my savior play, like saying, come on, go do something with them. um that's how I usually, and then it's not like masculine play where like I'm like punching on others to go do the play. It's like I'm being swept up by the group think or like what everyone else wants to do. FEY, it's like I'll get
So
swept up by them.
so what do you do then? Like when you have a buddy that's like, masculine SE, he's like, he's punching everyone, wrestling everyone. Like, how do you like? Do you like that stuff though? Like,
Yeah, wrestling's interesting because like I like evading. Like there was another guy who was my same type that you interviewed, and he said it really well that like he's good at like ducking or like evading is like more feminine SE, and then like just like destruction is like masculine SE. And like I had like a cousin that I would wrestle with when I was like around 10 or whatever, and he would just like beat the shit out of me. But I would always like evade him, and like I'd
yeah.
be faster than him, and so I could get away.
uh, yeah, I think the other guy that I interviewed, he looks like you too, I think. Like,
Yeah, yeah. We all look the same. Yeah.
I know that's kind of funny how like someone of the same type or animal stack as you would.
All the EPs look the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah.
I think that's what I like about Op is that they have I mean they said don't use the looks game, but the fact that it's there as a supporting document, I think it's really like awesome.
Yeah, I find that so interesting because I think it's definitely tied to genetics, and within the next like 50 years or so, I think we might be able to find the sensor of like which like DNA structure contains the DNA for your personality, which DNA is the self function versus the tribe function.
Right. So you have SF play. So do you get what's the word I'm looking for? Do you react really easily to people who are like very expressive? So like the joke I like to do. So I'll do one right now. So like I like to go up to people with SF play and be like, "Show me the money," like yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it because it's like the FE is like emotions, and then the SE is like, especially with like, so I'll focus on like the SE of like your facial expression.
Yeah.
FE is also like the emotions.
Yeah. I've always been conflicted with that like SF play because it's the good thing about it is that it's easy to see and it's easy to emulate, but at the same time there's like a part of it where I'm always thinking, I'm like, do these people like, do you guys like,
we're just obnoxious. I think what it is it's like the SE wants to like break the barrier of the sensory, so I'll get in your face and be like, "Wah!" And then like the FE like wants to like express emotions, and because it's feminine, it's just like batshit crazy. That's how I see the SF play. Yeah.
I think what I'm the part about that SF play that kind of throws me off is that, are you guys doing it passively or is it like blatant?
Yeah, it's not connected to my personality, and I do find a lot of the times I'll like unconsciously go into play. It's easier for me to like notice it because it's second and it's like balanced with that sleep because I'm energy dominant. But like I can only imagine someone who's lead SEFE double feminine, like they won't even like see it as like part of themselves. They just get like swept up, and it's really like an unconscious thing where I like it's extroverted, so like I am obligated to whatever's going on in the extroverted world.
Yeah, and I also noticed that with you guys with extrovert feeling is that you tend to mirror the emotion and the facial expression of the person you're talking to, or like the group, like whatever the group's emotion is, that's kind of like what your emotion is.
Yes, mirroring. I'm a Libra in Zodiac or whatever.
Yeah,
I have like a lot of Libra in my natal chart, and so I mirror people a lot. Yeah, that's something
that was very NF, by the way, what you just said. So we'll jump into that in a second, because you're NF last, so I thought that was really, here's the weird thing, dude. Like you look very NF actually, but like, really? But you're NF last. So how does that work? That's kind of confusing.
I don't know. It's the hair.
Yeah, but it's not just your hair, it's your hair, your vibe, you know. You talking about like horoscope. It's like it's
Yeah,
very
no, I've really tried to, like, I don't like peacocking in whatever sense or form, but I
right.
can't stop myself from doing it anyway. But like I really do try to work on Blast and like NF a lot. Like I have an app where uh like I can counter, or I count every day. Like I do a check mark on a counter every time I consume sleep, play, or blast. And I have to like catch myself consuming at least twice a day,
Right.
and then I am obligated to blast at least twice a day as well. But I try to make it easy. I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't blast, but at least I used Ni, or I didn't blast, but I used Fe today, and so I'll put that as blast. And so I have to at least get 2 catches of my consume and 2 uses of my blast.
So do you do the blast similar to what Gary Vee does? Like, you know, he'll always tell people, you know, like kind of like the attributes that you should have, you know, Gary Vee always talks about like starting your own YouTube channel or whatever, or social media, right? So he'll always say things like, you know, just be you, you know, scratch your own itch, just be you, you know. It's like very NF, right? Like just be you,
Yeah.
have courage, you know, it's like a lot of abstract,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Yeah, no, I definitely like in high school, I was kind of like or I would find myself peacocking where I would NF blast. People would come to me with like relationship advice.
Right.
And I'd use my SF play to like play out like, okay, what are their feelings? And then I'd hit them with that. Like, this is the concept you need to follow, and these are the FE emotions. I'm not really sure because it's like a demon, so like
Right.
I'm not like totally aware when I'm doing it, but it's blast, so I'm like telling people what to do, um, but it's NF, so it's like it's hippie and it's vibey.
Yeah, like my sister, I think she's a INFJ, and she's just blasting NF like all day, like talking about crystals and, you know, healing
Okay, yeah.
chakras and shit. Like, do you get into that kind of stuff?
So the perspective that I take is that I care less if it's I've demonized my TI. I care less if it's actually true,
Yeah.
and if other people derive value from it and it actually improves their lives on an objective scale. I don't really care if crystals are objectively um, like if there's anything real in them. Like the placebo effect can have positive benefits as well.
I feel like that's you. I feel like that's your double decider talking there, you know?
Yes.
Like you're like, you know, there's no point of arguing with this. Yeah, it could be wrong, but you know, if it makes people feel better, hey, you know what? Hey, let's roll
Yeah.
with it.
Like I think me submitting to like my FE and like stop like and the ceasing of the building of my TI includes like yeah, that whole NF stuff. Yeah, just blasting.
But when the NF goes too far, like the person's going all NF, but then you look at their, you know, sensory
Yeah,
life and it's
yeah,
messed up.
I think the balance for NF is when people like don't understand what you're saying because you're speaking intuition, so they don't have anything to relate to. And sometimes FE can like push some boundaries. Like maybe not everyone wants to share their feelings. Sometimes people are more like personal. Like maybe there's an FI person in the room, and me just knocking down their feelings with my chaotic SF double feminine play will step on some toes. So yeah.
You have extrovert feeling, and that means you take on the tribe values. So talk about tribe values, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and how you adhere to tribe values because of that, having that extrovert feeling.
Tribe values. I mean, I could say that like definitely earlier in my life, I did not appeal to tribe values. And I was definitely like I saw myself as an introvert, but I also was like I had less friends, just because I didn't want to engage with the FE as much. Um, but so like I'm a sophomore in college right now, and I find that like FE is just like having a group of friends that you can call family, and just being able to share your emotions with them.
So with that FE, do you also, you know, when you're feeling something, do you need to talk it out to people to get it out? Like it's not something that you
Yeah,
process by yourself?
Yeah, I do feel like it's healthy for everyone to get their emotions out in some way. I actually really resonate with like the cry routine, which shouldn't make sense because I don't have FI, but I have like a playlist on YouTube that like is like a bunch of emotional scenes from like different movies that just really get me good. Like have you seen Bridge to Terabithia?
No, but it's funny you brought that up because my girlfriend
Uh-huh.
she was supposed to read that book in elementary school, but she just read the
Oh yeah.
back of the book and then she got in trouble. So
Oh
I've been
really?
trying to get her to watch the Netflix. Bridge. She's giving me a dirty look right now, but I've been trying to get her to watch Bridge of Terabithia with me because is it good? Do you like it?
Yes, it's yeah, it's based on the book, and it's really it does a really good portrayal of what happens in the book, but it's really sad at the end. Like it takes a really hard twist, and that's what I watch all the time.
Oh,
I
I
just
like those
watch
kind of
that.
stuff. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah. We'll have to watch it then.
yeah, I recommend it. It's really good. It's a classic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, Well, since you have extrovert feeling, does that mean your emotions are not personal? Like when you
yeah,
let your emotions out, it's like it's cool. You can see what I feel. It's so completely cool.
yeah. I definitely don't like. I definitely tie my identity more to the skill based thing, and like I had a an ex girlfriend who was lead FI, lead masculine FI, and she just tied her. I saw. Excuse me. There were a lot of times where she would tie her identity to like I like this song, and this song is me is basically what she was saying, or like I
Right.
like this set of values. Like I value these type of people, or I value these type of people because she was a decider, and so she would like tie her identity to that value statement, whereas like the TI is more tying their identity to uh, like how you can get things done.
Can you elaborate on that? Like how do you tie your identity to getting things done, or your skills?
Yes, yeah. So like it's kind of like so it's ST like being savior ST. It's very like robotic. Like I definitely have thought about like wanting to be like a pilot, because like the pilot or like an operator of any kind, like operating like things, like because what you're doing is like you are the person who operates the thing, and then like how well you can do the thing, whether it's flying the plane or like I really want to do like light board for this uh, these plays in college because I get to like do stuff with like my hands, and I get to like see the moving sensory, um, and yeah, like that type of thing. It's like your identity is the operator of the thing, and then you're doing things, and how if you can do them better than someone else or make it easier. I hear easier a lot, and like whether something's hard or easy is like very thinker wording. And so like if I can make this easier, then uh, then like I tie my identity to that. Like I made it easier to do.
So with people with FI, we tie our identity to our values and
Mhm.
attributes. But for you, it's TI. And is there no anything emotional behind it, or is it just purely like rational, skill based?
Yeah, I don't even like consider the emotions with like the TI. The TI, my TI is masculine. It like bullies my FE a lot,
I
like in
see.
my own head. I can like my TI specifically, like I do a lot of meditation, and so I practice like watching my thoughts.
Yeah.
Or like one phrase that I'll say to myself is like, I wonder what my next thought will be, because that gets me in the mindset of just observing my thoughts. Um, and so I don't even know what I was saying. Whatever. Yeah.
It's all, yeah, feminine sensory. You forgot already.
Yeah. I literally, yeah, I just changed channels too much and then I can't get back on.
Do you resonate with like, Lewis House Three Truths or whatever? Like, do you resonate with that kind of stuff?
No.
Isn't he the same
Lewis
type as you? Isn't he
is
like,
the exact same type as me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So don't, because, he's always asking his guests, what are your three truths? Like,
Yeah. I just don't get that it's just so like clunky and awkward to ask.
yeah.
Yeah. Or I would say like, hey, like what, like what's your one truth? Like if I was doing a podcast, that's what I would ask. Because like three truths is kind of weird. Like what's your one truth?
Do you have a one truth?
Mm, I don't know. Not memorized.
I see. No worries.
Mhm.
Um, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I would have never guessed that Lewis House was an ESTP. He doesn't. I mean, I guess
Mhm.
I don't know. He's kind of confusing because he says a lot of NF stuff. In his podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a learned skill. That's something that he learned, but he seems to use a lot of NF. Um,
Mhm.
and even you seem to peacock a lot of NF too, which is very
Mhm.
fascinating to me. Um, but I think if anything, you give up the NF vibe. But then
Mhm.
when you start talking, there's no
Oh,
NF in it. It's really weird. Like it's like it's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do. I remember making a decision like a couple years ago where I was like, I want my style and like my vibe. I didn't say vibe, but what I was wanting is like I wanted to change my vibe and I wanted to go from like more of a hippie,
Yeah,
like surfer aesthetic,
yeah.
like that. That's like my SF. Like I want to appeal to that.
Well, most EPs are the surfer archetype, right?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. You're like chill, nothing
Oh
really
yeah.
gets you. But deep down inside, you have that like don't control me bro syndrome. So talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Oh, yeah. So I have a great story of where I just like freaked out by something totally minuscule. It wasn't
yeah.
totally minuscule, but what happened is it was like it was sophomore year homecoming, and I was leaving uh, the dance to go back home, and I was really tired because we had like an after party, and so it was like 3 a.m. And so I was really tired. I was in the car, I was driving, and I got to a stoplight. I was like, okay, whatever. And it was red for literally like 2 minutes. I was like, okay. And so then it passed, and then I go through it. And it's one of those dumb ones where there's like a stoplight, and then there's another stoplight like right next to it. And that one was red. And so I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to go. It's literally 3 a.m. There's no one here. And lo and behold, as I go, I turn to my right and there's a cop with his lights on
Jeez.
at 3 a.m. And I'm like, oh, and I didn't have my license. So I got a moving violation and like whatever the extra fine for not having, or no, I didn't have my insurance. Um, and so it was just really aggravating. And it kind of, that, I had a lot of stuff going on like that past week. And that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and I had like a really big tidal wave after that incident.
Can you talk about the tidal wave that happened afterwards?
It's kind of personal. Like it was a lot of mental health stuff and a lot of like deep darkness in my head.
Gotcha. No worries.
Mhm.
Um, I can kind of I can relate. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Like the way I like my masculine sleep is just very aggressive towards myself, and like whenever I mess, like whenever I feel controlled, like, and I'm swinging to the masculine and it's masculine. And then like when I'm swinging to the demon sleep, it's masculine. And so it's very aggressive towards my own self. And like I beat myself up a lot about it. Um, but I'm trying to learn how to use that masculinity and put it into different forms.
Do you do people ever see your anti-masculine sleep, or is that something that's completely hidden from people? Like when the police triggered you, for example, did you anti-masculine double masculine
Oh
NTF?
no, no. When the police guy came up to me, I was just double feminine. Oh yeah, officer. But then when I go home, I was really aggressive. I think the only people that see my NITI double masculine are like my close friends or like significant, mostly just my significant others. Because like I'll allow them into my DI, and like this is me.
What's their reaction usually when they see the NT you?
I don't know if there's like if there's a way to say that they like exactly are perceiving my NITI, because like they don't have any way, or a lot of the people that I've dated like don't understand objective personality to the level that I do, because like I've been like watching their videos for a while. But like usually so far it's been pretty well. Mhm.
Are they surprised how extremely like logical you are?
Yeah, I guess I guess they are surprised. Yeah, I being demon tribe, I have a hard time reading the emotions of others,
That's
and
so
so
interesting.
yeah, yeah. So like even though I have savior play, my TI doesn't want to like read the emotions of others. It just wants to do its own thing.
Right.
Um, but I'm definitely getting better at it, like identifying, oh, this person is feeling this. Okay.
I've always been curious about that. You know, you guys that has consume play
Mm-hmm.
as your animal stack,
Mm-hmm.
like some of you seems like you could read the tribe's feelings, or but some of you cannot. So I'm just wondering.
I think I don't know. Like for me, I was pretty sheltered as a child. Like I
Yeah,
was in a middle class family, and I was just in like a really snooty kind of bratty neighborhood. I won't
right.
say where it was, but it was just like, and so it was like really like it wasn't hard. Like hard times create strong men, and it wasn't hard at all. It was very easy. Um, and so I think that like I just spent a lot of time alone as a kid when I could have engaged with the tribe. And so I think that's why it could have contributed to my self-perception as me being savior sleep. Um, but yeah, I think your upbringing doesn't really change your op type, but may like significantly change how you may view your own type.
Well, according to David Shan, your upbringing can affect your usage of your animals. You
Okay,
know, because when I
sure.
sent them my video, they said that I'm sleep last, yet I can use 50% of sleep, which is like weird.
I mean, your sleep is double masculine as well, so
Exactly, like it's like yours, double masculine. So,
yeah.
but it's fourth, and they said it was because of my upbringing, you know, like what I dealt with. So
Mhm.
I think it's directly correlated to your environment and your parents, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
I think there's definitely a balance of nature and nurture, and it'd be interesting to find how much actually affects your genetics.
but if you wanted to know what the tribe is feeling, can you know it? Like if you wanted to,
Yeah, it's not like super hard being a double decider. Like I just have to consciously engage with it.
right? Okay. Um, you mentioned earlier when you watch Bridge to Terabithia or
Hmm.
you know other stuff that you start visualizing some of the scenes in the movie that
Hmm.
really you know impacted you emotionally.
Hmm.
Um, talk about being visual and having that visual memory as a result of double feminine. You know, because you're tester and
Yeah,
visual, right?
yeah, I'm visual. I just have it's harder because what I say is like the masculine intuition activates the visual, and so the masculine NI is the thing that is creating the visuals, and because it's at the bottom, it's harder to like get to that. But once I engage to it, it's like a graphics card. It'll just start running up, and like Dave and Chan have talked about how like NI requires more like brain processing power. And so it takes a lot of effort to like actually like close my eyes, like visualize the future. But once I do, it's like masking, so it just like gets rolling. Um, and it's like it's very like set boundaries. I don't know, like trying to think of like specific instance. Like I was directing a film last semester, like a short film, and I had to like uh I was like choreographing a fight scene, and I had to like visualize like, okay, this person. That's kind of more kinesthetic, like the like fight scenes, because it's like people moving and like spatial awareness. Whereas visualizing is like I'll like attach symbols to like abstract concepts more. Yeah, yeah, that symbols is like the name of the game for visual.
Do you have an example of the symbols when you were directing the?
Uh,
No, okay,
uh,
it's all
sorry.
good. um,
Yeah.
so because you're lead SE,
Mhm.
are you athletic? Would you say?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So that's one of my like things that I like really locked onto for like self-improvement wise is like working out. So I started uh weightlifting like sophomore or junior year. And I found that weightlifting is very like masculine SE, um, especially like cleaning or like deadlifting. It's like you want to get the biggest weight and you want to get like the biggest thick plates on there, and you want to like lift it, and you want to smash it down.
Yeah,
And I find myself having a really hard time like pushing against weights,
yeah,
and so I do a lot of body weight like calisthenics
yeah.
exercises where I have to do like pull ups, dips, because like instead of me like pushing on other things, I'm like being moved in a sense
Right.
um, by like the outside world, but like I'm having to like stay rigid through like statics, like front levers or planches or stuff like that.
Yeah, I noticed that people with feminine SE as a savior, they're not, they're better suited with things like gymnastics or figure skating, maybe, that kind of stuff. Maybe because you're more flowy as a result. But one of the greatest UFC fighter of all time is Anderson Silva, and he's double feminine ESTP, right? And in his prime, he's considered to be the best in the world. And because he's so flowy, so when people try to punch him, he just dodges like so fluid.
Yeah, dodging. Yeah, one of my favorite things to do in high school was if I was like late for a class and it was like in the middle of passing period and there'd be like a bunch of people in the hallways, I'd like run and evade and like do that, all that type of stuff. I play a video game called Titanfall 2, and it's a lot of like swinging around and like throwing yourself and then like ducking. Yeah, the masculine wants to like run up and like body slam someone, whereas like the feminine SE wants to like swish around, and it's a lot of like wavy, like it's very airy, like air element versus fire, which is more masculine.
Yeah, I think the double masculine SEFE is really obnoxious in the gym because they're like slamming all the weights. They'll like lift it up and then they'll like slam on the ground, and after they slam it, they'll grunt. They're like, "Rah!"
And then they look around to see if anyone saw that. I'm like, okay, all right.
So it's so annoying, and then when they're benching, there's like a fountain coming out of their mouth, like, like
yeah, sure.
And then it's the worst when they come up and ask you for a spot. I'm like, I don't want to spot you. Freaking
spotting is always super awkward. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. No, because what if the spray hits you in the face, right? Like the fountain is coming out their mouth when they're benching. No. Like how you're supposed to like help them push up the bar, right? But that's where the fountain is of spit. It's all like it's so gross.
Gross. Yeah, I'd rather just do calisthenics. Well, the other reason why I do calisthenics is because I like bought rings and like a pull-up bar, and anywhere I can take my rings, I can do a workout. Because like the reason that I found I wasn't really working with weightlifting was because it would like take time to drive there, and then like I have to shower afterwards, and then I have to drive back, and it was just too much observer chaotic shit that I didn't want to deal with. And so I was like, okay, I'll just narrow it down to rings, but then that opens up the possibility for me to do it wherever I want. And I don't have an excuse to not work out.
So I like how you talked about, all the BS that you have to go through just to go to the gym. And
oh my God.
Talk about, being balanced with expending energy and preserving energy.
Expending. Yeah. So like whenever I'm like with friends or whatever, like in the back of my mind, I'll always be like, oh, okay, I need to go like balance this out with like some sleep processing. And I find journaling, like if I'm like going with my friends or whatever, and I'm just like getting swept up, I find if I can like go to the bathroom and then just like journal on my phone for a couple of minutes, like gets out my masculine sleep. Or it's like I have an interaction with someone and then I need to like process it, which isn't super convenient in like society, like because they just want you to keep playing. But yeah, that's what I tend to do.
Because you are play above sleep, do you find it easy to go help out your friends if they need help?
No.
Okay,
no,
that's interesting.
So like being like DI, I just hate. Like I just want to work on my own thing, like leave me alone, don't control me, bro. Like because I hate it when other people like are like blast telling me what to do, like, hey, come do this. I'm like,
no, okay, what if they're not blasting? What if it's just like a buddy? It's like, oh, hey man, I really need help with like moving, are you free to help?
I'll find a way to wiggle out of it.
Oh, would you? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I can't, like it's like with the savior play, like I can kind of read and I'll tell like I can tell when like you can tell that I'm like bullshitting you or I'm just like straight up lying to you. But if I can be like, oh no, I have homework or something, like I'll do that.
Okay, so where does the play above sleep come in then? Because technically it should be easier for you to spend your energy with a tribe than
I think it's what it is this like in person, if someone's like, hey, come do this, I'll be like, okay. But if someone's like over text and I have time to like process it, I'll be like, okay, I'll use my masculine and I'll be like, okay, if I say this, then they'll say this. If I say this, then they'll say this. And like, I'll like plan out like what I could say to like not do something. But if it's like in the moment, I have a hard time not letting my play take over and just doing it with them.
Okay, but how do you feel in the moment though? Like when you do help them, do you feel like fine? Like it's not a big deal, or is it like bothersome?
It's not too bad.
So it's not a big deal. It's like, okay, yeah, in the
Yeah,
moment.
it's not honestly a big deal. The problems in my life are usually coming from the over consuming.
Okay, so let's talk about that then. So you've
Okay.
talked about your energy expenditure and
Mm-hmm.
how when you help the tribe, it's only in the moment. That's cool. If it's not in the moment, it's pre-planned.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, nope, F that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so what about the flip side of things with the consume and the blast? So you're taking all this information, and I think one of the biggest things I learned since starting
Mm-hmm.
the Enfp Male YouTube channel and
Mm-hmm.
starting to produce my own original content was that I'm actually learning when I'm teaching. So it's
Okay.
so I thought that was super fascinating because I thought I knew
Yeah.
something, and then when I start teaching, I'm like, maybe I don't know this as well as I thought.
Uh-huh.
So talk about you're over consuming things. You are using play also to ping up the tribe and learn from the tribe, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
sleep processing in your head, but then you don't blast. So
Just don't no
so so
blast.
so
Yeah.
do you really know it? That's like the question, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, like what I do for tests is I just like I'd read, like I wouldn't really teach it at all, and I mean it seemed to work like it stopped working around college, I guess, when the
yeah.
assignments getting harder, the assignments started getting harder. But I mean, yeah, what I'll do is like I'll just read ahead, I'll just extra consume, like if the because like the teacher can only speak at so many words per minute, and the brain has like a much higher capacity for thinking at words per minute, like it's 800 versus like 200 or something. And so like I can only consume as fast as they're talking. If this was a lecture recorded, then I could like speed it up, which I love Zoom and like online classes because I get to speed it up. um, but yeah, like the solution that I had, like in math class or whatever, was like, okay, they're doing the lecture. I've already read the chapter. I'll just read the next chapter. So when they get to it, I've already consumed it, and then it's kind of being ingrained into my OI. But I'm trying to learn that I need to consume something and then blast. It just takes time from the consume to the blast than it would with. It takes more time than it would with info dominant person.
What kind of issues have you experienced from not being info dominant? Where have you gotten tripped up as a result of, not
Oh,
like
I don't know
obsessing with it?
specifically about info dominant. I have a lot of observer issues where I'll just like completely miss something that was
Like
freaking
what?
obvious. Okay, so the really dumb example is that I've been looking for my razor for like months, and it was literally just sitting on the sink, but it was black, so I didn't think it was my razor. I was like, okay, but like Dave and Shan said they were talking about like they hired a guy to come do their printer or something,
Yeah.
and they deciphered that he was an ENTP, and so he was an observer.
Yeah.
And he walked to like the house to the left of theirs, and then he walked to the house to the right of theirs, and then he like just missed their house
Yeah.
because some sensory he wasn't looking at. It's like that type of thing.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
No, because they're always complaining about the printer, and then I don't know if you saw the video they made about complaining about their website, where like they had like an ENTP that they hired to make their website, and the ENTP was
Yeah.
like shit, and then so they hired an
Mhm.
ENFP, which is even worse.
Yeah. Why would you hire an ENFP? Well, I guess they don't know the type. I wish you could put your type in the job description.
Yeah, no, ENFP is good at some stuff, but your
Mhm.
website is not one of them. you know.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, I think when you're hiring like a double decider, you hire those people for people related stuff, customer service or something,
Yeah.
not your
Yeah.
printer or whatever. Yeah, that's like asking for like big problems.
Yeah, because they're observers, so they're like supposed to mess up the thing.
Yeah, what's really messed up too is that like like double or sorry, deciders like IPs
Mhm.
and EJs, they love working with people, but they're like the worst at it. And then
Yeah.
double deciders, that like us, we want to work with things, but really we're shit at it compared to those guys, and we should be working with people because that's our superpower, right? So
Yeah. It's like whatever you obsess over, you smother, and so like you're no longer good at it, or what.
yeah, like right now I'm trying to learn how to video edit better, but really my
Mm.
real skill set is probably customer service or like coaching
Mhm.
people, because that's, people is not a problem for us, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
so I thought that's really fascinating. So
Yeah,
sorry, yeah, go ahead.
like Jordan Peterson, I think, is like a good like double decider, and he's like, and like what I think is like a pretty like perfect fit for double deciders, especially him being like NEFE, is like he's like a not a therapist, but like he works with people,
Right.
and he like takes them and like and he balances them. He double decides on them, and if like you have like an IP therapist or an EJ therapist, they just find some way to fuck it up.
I just love how Jordan Peterson slays all the single deciders that's trying to like
Oh yeah,
he just you are you serious? You're not gonna beat a double decider
yeah,
on
yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff, especially him. His TI is so strong.
Oh
So
yeah.
he's also sleep last, right? I think. And
Mhm.
so he's he's not just TI dominant, he's also info dominant,
Yeah.
so everything like you really there's no holes in his game,
Yeah,
it's
there's no way to get into whatever he's saying. You'd have to like if you were gonna try to like get like Jordan Peterson, you'd have to like make fun of his SITI. Or
yeah,
like you can't physically make that work. And it's really complicated. And you
right,
can't do it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think they figured it out because everyone that's attacking him is a decider, right? So it's all people, right? When
Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause he keeps pissing people off
yeah.
about like and then they're like the decider issue and he's like, no, 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 no.
I mean, when you watch him like argue with those people too, he's being a double decider, right? He's like,
Mhm.
if you want me to call you that, I don't mind calling you that, but you know, it's not correct. The term is not
Mhm.
correct, but if you want me to call me that, that's fine. So it's,
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of like what you said earlier about like crystals and energies. You're like, I know it's not correct, but it works for you, so it's fine. Like I don't
Yeah, yeah.
care.
Mhm.
But they don't get it, right? They're like so tunnel vision on just that one thing that he said. Like
Mhm.
there's only two genders. Like
Mhm.
he's talking about biological genders. There's only two, right? And like, anyways, that's a
Yeah.
touchy subject for a lot of people. Probably triggered some
Whatever.
deciders already watching
Oh
this.
no! Oh no! The deciders are triggered.
Yeah, they're gonna come.
Yeah.
They're gonna come and lock us up.
Mhm. Yeah.
um. All right. So they said that double deciders have problems with fear. Your fear is coming from your NI. So what
Mm.
kind of fear is coming from your NI? Like, are you scared of what's coming from the future, or uh,
I
like what is the fear from the NI that's happening for you?
Yeah, I don't really I don't know because it's like it's on my poles like the observer. So like it's like hard to see accurately because I'm not seeing both at one time, like with the double deciding. Um, yeah, it's just like the one of like my fears is like losing my sensor body, and like being like a vegetable, because then I wouldn't be able to. But that's like my TI because it's like the identity. I specifically don't like resonate with like the observer of fear thing, but I know it's there somewhere, so I need to start looking for it.
What about a lot of people who are like ESFPs and ESTPs? I
Mhm.
find that they're like anti-establishment. Like are you? Would you say you're like anti-establishment? Like you?
And the only thing that I can like try kind of put to that is like the whole like anti-capitalism movement or like the anarchists, whatever. I was on that like side of TikTok for a while.
Okay.
Um, but like I tend to not like see any like necessary problems with the world. Like if there's something that I can do right now to fix and like help, then I'll do that. But like saying like this is a problem in the world and then not doing anything about it is just a recipe for disaster.
Gotcha. Do you resonate with Jocko Willink's message of discipline equals freedom? Because EP's biggest problem is discipline, right? So
Yeah.
do you resonate with that? And is that
Yeah,
common?
I resonate with that a lot more. Like the discipline for me is really like the masculine OI. It's like control yourself and like get it together. Whereas the feminine NI with like Dave is like, okay, we're going to control and we're going to go for the long haul, but I'm not going to like push my plan on you. Whereas like the masculine, like discipline, like that's very important to the OI. Yeah.
And would you say you struggled with this self-discipline growing up? Is that something that you've
Oh
had
yeah.
troubles with?
Yeah. I have a, let's see. So self-discipline, I have like I have this trouble controlling myself. I have like an addictive personality.
Right. All of us.
What?
All the EPs.
Yeah, all the EPs and lead consumes are addictive personalities. But yeah, because it's just like what I think like because like I have ADHD as well, which I also think is just low sleep.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I can't control myself because I'm always channel changing. I want the best new sensory, and
Right.
I want bigger, better, best. And so yeah, I do find myself getting addicted to things a lot.
So Jocko Willink's, you know, when he finally discovered his NI, that was, you know, that was discipline equals freedom. So I noticed that, you know, with NI, there's like a mantra that you tend to follow, especially if you have it in the bottom. So would you say you have a mantra that you follow?
I have a bunch of mantras written down on my phone that I can't remember.
But do you
like
follow them?
I really do. I do try to follow them. Like they're in there somewhere on the back, and they're like masculine, so they're not going anywhere. But like they're there, but I just like can't remember them because I don't. But like I do try to like I who was that INTJ guy? James Clear,
Okay.
Atomic Habits. I like subscribe to his newsletter because he always does like something and he like talks about NI and he talks about Blast. And sometimes I like write down his ideas. I'm like, okay, I should.
I don't know if you saw the video that Dave and Shan released on Joe Biden, and they talked about how Joe Biden was talking about his identity. How I forgot the exact details, but he said something like, you know, he's what is it, like a father, you know, a husband or whatever, and like and an athlete, you know, and then there was like, you know, no politician in there, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But do you have something like that, like, you know, like who you are, like the truths about you? Do you do that?
Yeah, it's not as developed. Nah, I don't have like a thing that I can. Biden's really good because he has masculine sensory, so he can just like rattle that off.
Right.
And then he also has the masculine DI, so like he's very comfortable with himself. I feel like in 20 years I'll be able to come up with I'm a this, this, and this, and this.
Well, I like that you know, didn't bullshit your way through the question. I like how you you know, you're like,
yeah, I don't know.
You're like, yeah, you don't know right now, and you're too young. That's cool. You know, I'll figure it out later on.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty good because like sometimes I'll like freak out about like, I don't know, missing information, and then I'll like freak out about it. And I'm trying to get like more comfortable with like saying I don't know what the future holds, but I can take a guess.
Right. Yeah. So how do you feel about guessing? Because that's your problem.
I actually really like guessing. I like what I like doing is I like using both the sensory and the intuition, and I like making educated guesses.
Yeah. Right.
But I know that I'll err on the side of making no guesses, and so any guess to me is like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, us like lead intuition is just guessing nonstop.
Well, yeah, it's because like the masculine and it's just the guess is like tied to my identity.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. Like it's not femininity where you're just like whoa, 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 whoa. Like it's like I'm guessing about this specific thing, and if it's wrong, then I have to like course correct.
All right, dude. We're gonna wrap up the interview pretty soon, just because I gotta get going. But my last question to you is, how do you plan on working on your NI and your blast? Like, what is your plan to work on that?
Yeah. Okay. So, so with my blast specifically, I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel or a TikTok account and like do like tips on objective personality. And like one of the things that I really want to do is I want to like animate the different functions into people, because I think all the deciders are being driven crazy by Dave's observer presentation of objective personality, and they're like, where are the people? And so if I can like put faces to like the different functions, like FE, feminine FE is like this fun lady or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and that type of thing. And then NI is just being like working on my masculine NI is just being more comfortable with the unknown. Cause like the sensory, it wants to know like what is real or like what it has happened or like is happening right now. And I just got to be more comfortable with like, okay, this hasn't happened yet, but it could. But I don't know if it's going to happen, but like, this is my guess. And so just being more comfortable with things that aren't real, like energy crystals. Like maybe the energy isn't real, but it's abstract and it's an idea, it's a concept. It's not supposed to be real.
Gotcha. All right, Gus, man, thanks for doing this interview. That was really fun.
Yeah, of course.
All right, man. So peace out and bye to everyone.
Yeah, bye, Rob.